Have you ever stopped to observe that constant voice in your mind, the internal dialogue that seems to define who you are, dictate your decisions, and often act as an unrelenting judge of your actions? Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, deeply explored the relationship between this internal voice and our true identity. Today, we will dive into this fascinating world and uncover that this mental chatter is not truly you. Jung revealed that what we believe ourselves to be is often just an illusion created by our psyche. According to him, the human mind consists of multiple layers, and at its deepest core lies the true self, an entity that transcends the ego and the masks we wear in our daily lives. This true self is not merely a collection of thoughts and experiences. It embodies our innate potential and authenticity, waiting to be unveiled. That internal voice, which many of us cling to as a reflection of identity, is not really us, but rather a construct of the ego, a mechanism that Jung described as necessary but limiting. The ego acts as a bridge between our consciousness and the external world, shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and traumas. However, this bridge often turns into a wall that separates us from our true essence. It filters our perceptions and emotions, creating a distorted lens through which we interpret reality. As we navigate through life, the ego can become overly protective, leading us to cling to familiar patterns that may no longer serve our growth. In this way, we can inadvertently imprison ourselves within the confines of our conditioned responses, losing sight of the boundless possibilities that lie beyond. Jung emphasized the importance of self-awareness and introspection, encouraging us to engage with our inner dialogue rather than simply accepting it as truth. By recognizing that our thoughts are not our identity, we can begin to peel back the layers of the ego and reconnect with the deeper aspects of ourselves. This journey of self-discovery is both liberating and transformative, inviting us to embrace the complexities of our psyche while fostering a sense of wholeness. As we explore this intricate relationship between the inner voice and our true selves, we are reminded that the path to authenticity requires courage and vulnerability. It urges us to question the narratives we have constructed and to confront the fears that bind us. In doing so, we can cultivate a deeper understanding of who we are at our core, allowing the light of our true self to shine through the shadows of the ego. Ultimately, this process invites us to rewrite the script of our lives, empowering us to live more fully and authentically, free from the constraints of a limiting internal dialogue. This incessant mental chatter reflects the fears, judgments, and expectations accumulated throughout our lives, but it does not necessarily represent our authentic nature. Jung argued that one of the first steps toward true self-understanding is recognizing that this inner voice is just a part of us, not our entirety. To illustrate this, Jung introduced the concept of the shadow, a part of our psyche that contains aspects of ourselves that we prefer to ignore or repress. Often, that inner voice is a projection of this shadow, filled with thoughts we do not dare to confront. For instance, if your inner voice constantly tells you that you are not good enough, where does this thought come from? Is it a belief adopted due to past experiences, or is it an echo of societal expectations that have conditioned you? Jung invites us to observe these thoughts from a higher perspective, allowing the true essence hidden beneath mental noise to emerge. By adopting this vantage point, we can begin to discern the difference between the transient nature of these thoughts and the deeper, more enduring truths about ourselves. In this journey of self-discovery, it becomes essential to engage in introspection, to sift through the layers of our psyche like an archaeologist uncovering ancient artifacts. Each layer revealed offers insights, not just into our insecurities, but also into our strengths, desires, and potential. As we learn to identify these fragmented voices within, we can start to separate our self-worth from external validation and societal norms, allowing our genuine self to shine through. Moreover, embracing our shadow, those neglected or disowned aspects of ourselves, can be transformative. Instead of viewing it solely as a source of negativity, we can recognize it as a repository of untapped power. By acknowledging our fears and vulnerabilities, we can harness their energy to fuel personal growth and creativity. This integration process fosters a more compassionate relationship with ourselves, where acceptance of our imperfections becomes a pathway to authenticity. Ultimately, Jung's insights encourage us to cultivate a mindset of curiosity rather than judgment toward our inner dialogue. As we learn to listen with discernment, we can foster a dialogue with our shadow, turning what was once a source of conflict into a wellspring of wisdom. In doing so, we embark on a profound journey towards self-acceptance, unraveling the complex tapestry of our identities and embracing the multifaceted nature of our being. Through this process, we not only reclaim our narrative but also empower ourselves to live in alignment with our true essence, free from the shackles of fear and limitation. When we cease to identify with these intrusive thoughts and instead view them as reflections of our inner landscape, we open ourselves to profound transformation. This shift in perspective allows us to step back and observe our mental chatter with curiosity rather than judgment. By doing so, we can begin to unravel the narratives that have shaped our identities and, in turn, our behaviors. Each negative thought becomes a thread in the intricate tapestry of our psyche, revealing patterns that have long gone unnoticed. For instance, consider the voice that criticizes your efforts or belittles your achievements. Rather than accepting this inner critic as an immutable truth, Jung encourages us to engage in a dialogue with it. What fears does it mirror? What unmet needs lie beneath the surface? This act of exploration fosters a deeper understanding of ourselves, illuminating the areas where we may feel inadequate or unworthy. Moreover, embracing this process of individuation requires us to confront not only our shadows, the parts of ourselves we deem undesirable, but also the gifts and strengths we have overlooked. Jung believed that by acknowledging and integrating these aspects, we can achieve a more balanced and authentic self. The journey is not without its challenges. It often involves grappling with discomfort and vulnerability. Yet, it is through this very discomfort that we can cultivate resilience and self-compassion. As we engage with our mental chatter, we can also learn to reframe our experiences. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, we can begin to see them as opportunities for learning and growth. This shift allows us to foster a more compassionate inner dialogue, one that acknowledges our humanity and the complexity of our experiences. By embracing the entirety of our psyche, including the less palatable parts, we create space for healing and transformation. Ultimately, the journey of individuation, as Jung envisioned it, is a lifelong process. It invites us to continuously explore the depths of our being, to challenge our assumptions, and to expand our understanding of ourselves. In this way, mental chatter becomes not just a backdrop to our lives, but a vital part of our evolution, guiding us toward greater self-awareness and authenticity. By embracing this inner dialogue, we not only disarm the ego but also embark on a path that leads us closer to our truest selves, allowing for a richer, more meaningful existence. Jung held that much of human suffering arises from our tendency to identify too closely with the ego. This internal voice, often a relentless critic, feeds on our fears and limitations, weaving a persistent narrative about who we ought to be, how we should act, and how we are perceived by others. It's a script that runs on repeat, shaping our self-image and influencing our decisions. However, if we can cultivate the ability to step back and observe this mental chatter as if we were external witnesses, a profound shift occurs. We begin to understand that we are not merely the sum of our thoughts. Rather, we are the observer standing behind them, capable of viewing them with detachment and clarity. A simple example can illustrate this process. Imagine making a mistake at work. In that moment, your mind may immediately launch into a barrage of self-criticism, echoing phrases like, "You're a failure," or "You will never be good enough." According to Jung, These words do not stem from your authentic self. Instead, they emerge from a mental construct designed to shield you from the pain of failure or rejection. This construct, though seemingly protective, paradoxically ensnares you in a cycle of suffering and self-doubt. However, when you learn to observe these thoughts instead of automatically reacting to them, you begin to dismantle their power. By acknowledging their presence without judgment, you create a space for self-compassion and understanding. This shift allows you to recognize that your value is not contingent upon your achievements or the approval of others. Instead, it lies in your inherent worth as a human being. As you practice this mindful observation, you cultivate resilience and a deeper connection to your true self, ultimately liberating yourself from the constraints of the ego and opening the door to greater peace and fulfillment. This process requires courage, because looking inward means facing what we have long avoided. Jung spoke of the journey into the underworld as a metaphor for confronting our shadows. On this journey, we encounter parts of ourselves that we have rejected, but that hold immense potential for transformation. The shadow, according to Jung, is not inherently negative. It is simply the unknown, the forgotten, the repressed. It is a reservoir of untapped energy and creativity, waiting to be acknowledged and integrated. For example, someone who represses their creativity for fear of failure may find that their mental chatter constantly tells them they are not talented enough. This voice is nothing more than a projection of a deeper fear, the fear of being vulnerable, of exposing oneself, and being judged. It echoes the internalized criticisms and insecurities that often stem from past experiences or societal pressures. Yet, beneath this fear lies a wellspring of potential, a dormant force yearning for expression. By confronting this fear and integrating their creative shadow into their life, this person not only overcomes limitations, but also reconnects with a vital part of their being. They begin to realize that embracing their creativity, despite the risks of failure and judgment, can lead to profound personal growth and fulfillment. This act of integration transforms not just their artistic endeavors, but also their entire perspective on life, allowing them to navigate challenges with newfound resilience and authenticity. As they delve deeper into this process, they may discover that their fears, once seen as obstacles, can actually serve as guides, illuminating the path toward greater self-awareness and acceptance. Each step into the darkness can reveal hidden strengths and talents that, when acknowledged, empower them to share their unique gifts with the world. In this way, the journey into the underworld becomes not only a confrontation with the shadows, but a celebration of the light that emerges from embracing one's true self. Thus, the act of looking inward transcends mere introspection. It transforms into a courageous expedition toward wholeness, inviting us to reclaim all facets of our identity and live more authentically. The ego, with its insatiable need for control, crafts an intricate illusion of separation that permeates our existence. This construct leads us to believe that we are isolated entities, disconnected not only from others, but also from the natural world, and, most crucially, from our own true selves. Yet Carl Jung posited a profound counter-narrative. At our deepest core, we are woven together through what he termed the collective unconscious. This vast reservoir is filled with archetypes, symbols, and shared experiences that resonate across humanity, transcending time and place. When we learn to quiet the relentless mental chatter that often dominates our thoughts, we can tap into this deeper dimension of our psyche. In these moments of stillness, we access a wellspring of wisdom that goes beyond individual experiences, connecting us to the shared narratives of our ancestors and the collective human journey. Picture this: the critical voice that whispers doubts and limitations in your ear is not solely your own. It is an echo of collective fears, deeply ingrained and passed down through generations. However, by choosing to engage with the collective unconscious from a place of heightened self-awareness, we can transform these echoes into powerful creative energy and a sense of purpose. This transformation is not merely a personal victory. It is an act of liberation that invites us to shed the shackles of fear and limitation. In doing so, we take a courageous step toward living a more authentic life, one that embraces our interconnectedness with others and the universe at large. Each of us becomes a vital thread in the rich tapestry of existence, contributing our unique color and texture while drawing strength from the collective essence that binds us all. Through this connection, we discover not only who we are, but also who we can become, unlocking the potential to create a more harmonious world together. As we advance in this process of self-knowledge, it is crucial to understand that mental chatter does not disappear overnight. The ego is not something we can completely eradicate, nor do we need to. Jung insisted that the ego has a purpose. It is the tool that allows us to interact with the physical world. However, its power must be balanced by our authentic self, our deepest essence, which serves as a guiding force in our lives. This balance is not merely a theoretical concept. It is an ongoing practice that requires our attention and commitment. The integration of the ego and the self is a fundamental step in the journey toward individuation, a process that leads us to a more holistic understanding of ourselves. This integration involves accepting the parts of our psyche that we have rejected or ignored without judgment. For instance, insecurity, which constantly fuels our mental chatter, may initially appear to be a flaw, a weakness that we should cast aside. Yet upon closer examination, we may discover that it serves a meaningful purpose. Perhaps it prompts us to be more cautious, to prepare better for challenges, or to engage in thoughtful reflection before taking action. Instead of fighting these emotions, Jung invites us to understand them and allow them to have their rightful place within us. By embracing our insecurities and fears, we create an opportunity for growth and transformation. This does not mean that we should let them dominate our thoughts or actions. Rather, it signifies recognizing their existence and acknowledging the wisdom they may offer. In doing so, we cultivate a compassionate relationship with ourselves, one that honors our complexities and contradictions. As we navigate this intricate landscape of the psyche, we begin to see that each aspect of ourselves, both the light and the shadow, contributes to the tapestry of our identity. The journey toward individuation is not about achieving a perfect state of being. Instead, it is about embracing the wholeness of our experience. Through this process, we reclaim the fragmented parts of ourselves, integrating them into a more cohesive and enriched sense of self. Ultimately, it is this integration that empowers us to move forward with authenticity and purpose, allowing our true selves to emerge in a world that often demands conformity. Ultimately, when we integrate Jung's concepts into our daily lives, we discover that they not only transform our internal perception, but also exert a profound influence on our actions and decisions. By connecting with our authentic self, we begin to operate from a place of greater clarity and authenticity, which in turn fosters deeper connections with those around us. This newfound understanding radiates into our relationships, allowing us to engage with others more empathetically and openly, thereby nurturing a sense of community and belonging. As we embrace these principles, we also enhance our professional endeavors. Operating from a genuine core empowers us to pursue our passions with renewed vigor, encouraging creativity and innovation in our work. Challenges that once felt insurmountable become opportunities for growth and learning as we approach them with a balanced perspective rooted in self-awareness. This journey of self-discovery and integration is not merely a personal endeavor. It is a transformative process that ripples outward, affecting all aspects of our lives. By embodying our true selves, we cultivate an inner resilience that equips us to face adversity with grace and courage. This is the path to true self-realization and inner freedom, a journey that invites us to live authentically and to inspire others to do the same, creating a more harmonious and enlightened world.